Okay, I'm back working on my 2002 Mazda Tribute. I got some check engine lights on here, and it's showing up that I've got some O2 sensors that are bad, and I'm just gonna go through this real quick here. Okay, in case you don't know where to hook your scan tool, it's right over here on this left. So you find your hood pop, and then it's like right over here where you hook it up, and I can just, it's right there. So that's where we're going to hook to. And if you don't have a tool, you can go to a lot of parts stores. I know AutoZone will check your check engine lights and give you the codes and a printout and everything. So okay, so we got 5 codes in here. But the ones I'm going to focus on right now are these oxygen sensors. I'm getting a PO 135 bank 1, and it's been confirmed. PO 141 bank 1 sensor 2, and PO 155 bank 2 sensor 1, PO 161 bank 2 sensor 2. So it's showing that all 4 of these O2 sensors are bad. And it's common if you get a check engine light and you don't get it checked out, and you just kind of let things go, then that's what you wind up with. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you where these are located at this point. Okay, so I have an engine that's already out here, so it's going to be kind of easier for me to show you some of this. So at this right here, we're looking basically at the front of the vehicle here. So this is going to be in the front. So this is going to be our upstream, and this is going to be our downstream. Now, I think when you get these like aftermarkets and Universal, it doesn't really matter that they kind of serve the purpose of both. But one thing I will say is that I've not had good luck with a lot of aftermarket with sensors and stuff, so it's good to get OEM, and I'm going to be actually using just some used ones. So anyways, this is going to be the more difficult one to get to up here, and I just use a 7/8, and I just kind of get them on there. If you get a little WD-40 on these things, and you just I like to take a 7/8 wrench and just kind of hit it a little bit. But anyways, let me show you these connectors here. Okay, so your connector is going to be hooked up like so, and you just got a tab right there that you're going to mash on, and that will pull out of there. And it's the same way with this one. You're just going to mash right there and pull it out. So it's easier for me to show you out like this. Now on this side, I can show you the upper one here. The lower one's actually on another part of the pipe, but here is the upper. Like I said, I'm just going to get in here, or try to, with a 7/8, and I already got these loose, but I just like to take a 7/8 and then I'll just kind of hit it with something, a little hammer or whatever, just to kind of break it loose. But that's that one, and it's the same thing. You just got a little tab right there that you just pull on, and it should come loose if it ain't stuck a little bit. Okay, so this is the rear one. That just gives you an idea. The lower sensor is on the pipe on down farther. I can probably show you if we can see it. Yeah, right here. Okay, this is the lower one here, the downstream, and it's hooked right down here. So this one's pretty easy to get to. So It's just right underneath. But we're going to go ahead and get under the vehicle in question now and see about getting these loose and replaced. Okay, here are used ones, and just wanted to show you. This is the downstream, and it is a little bit smaller in diameter. These are OEM off of another Tribute. So the downstream is actually got a little bit smaller diameter on that sensor than the upstream, and you'll notice these are different lengths. It's pretty self-explanatory as to where they go, but you know, I just take and mark these anyways as to where they came from. I know that these two are going to the rear and these two are going up into the front. I don't know which one's the down and up. And I'm also get you a little packet of anti-seize if you don't have some of this, and put a little bit on these threads. It'll save you some trouble the next time that you go to having to work on these. So we're going to go ahead and just get to working on putting these in now. Okay, so we're up here working on the front one here. I just want to show you what I've done. You have this plastic piece, and there's like several of these little 10mm just these little bolts here. I've took those out and just pushed that out of the way, nothing to it. Same way with this side, I've got it loose because it's going to make it easier for you to reach your hands, and you can take it all down if you want, but it's going to make it easier. Now this one on the bottom here, I just got down here with my 7/8. It was no problem hitting that, and we just got our I just hit it with my pipe and broke that one loose, so we got that one loose. So the one that's more difficult is the one that's up top here. I want to show you what I rented or got a loan tool from AutoZone. Is this little kit. Now they've got specially made sockets you can buy, but you can also just get a loan tool, you know, make a deposit and take it back. This is the number 27110, and the one that I'm using is I've actually got it on the thing here, and I'll show you how I had to come from this side, and I just kind of pulled this flap out of the way and got my arm up here where I could hold it with this hand, and then I took a cheater pipe, stuck it on the end of my ratchet here until I got it broke loose. Now I've got it completely loose. The way this thing works, let me see if I can slip it back off of here. And one thing I forgot, right here you've got these little plastic clips. Now you can just, I think, bump these with a screwdriver and get it out of there, but I just pulled that clip loose. They're hooked like right here. I'll show you. It's just right here on this little tab where my finger's at. They're both just hooked into that, and I just pushed them out is all I did because they're holding on there. So anyway, let me slip this thing off because it takes both hands, and I'll show you. Okay, so I was just using the 3/8 drive. That was enough to knock it loose. It's not a big deal. And like I said, it just your ratchet. I went ahead and put it on my 3/8 before I fed it up in there. And I also left it on loosened so I could kind of wiggle it around. And like I said, it's a little bit difficult up in there. There's not really any way for me to show you other than to, you're just gonna, it's got that slot in there, and you're just gonna start above where the wire is and slip it down on, and you can get to it, you just work it down on there, and with your ratchet you're able to get enough slack to get you a little cheater bar or whatever and break that loose. And that's all I'm doing. And I've done got these loose, and I popped these little things out, and we're just going to go ahead and take these completely off and work on getting our new ones back. These connectors, you know, I showed you on the other one, but it's just real easy. They may stick, but you just push your thumb down there and these will just pull off. And so I got that upstream, and I'm just working this lower out. Like I said, you will need to take your flaps loose and take this one over here loose, back out of the way. So if you do that, it'll make it a lot easier getting in here. So I'm going to go ahead and work on putting the upper in first because it's more difficult. Like I said, I'm using anti-seize, so I have to mess with them in the future. And I know I didn't mention it earlier, but these O2 sensors, you know, will cause, it wasn't causing a rough idle, but it can cause that. But the fuel economy will get really bad, and you'll usually start noticing that when these O2 sensors go out. Okay, so I'm going to thread this upper in first. You'll know it's the upper because it's the bigger diameter O2 sensor. So we're going to thread it in by hand, and then we'll get our wrench back on there. Okay, so I've threaded that in by hand, just getting ready to work this back up into place and give it a final snug. Yeah, I've got it positioned on there, and this ratchet makes it easy to manipulate it the way you want to get it snug down. So like I said, I'll come through this back side and hold it and get my cheater bar on there and give it that final snug. And this one here is the more difficult. The bottom one is just no problem at all, and I did put the anti-seize on there. Okay, so there I am putting a little bit of that anti-seize on there, and we're just getting ready to get this in the lower here. So this wire will twist around on you, but you can just kind of straighten it out after you get done with it. So this bottom one you can get to pretty easy with just a ratchet, but if you got the tool, then you know you might as well use it because it's gonna do a little bit better job. Like I say, they don't have to just be ridiculous tight. If you can get to it good, you can get it plenty tight enough with just a little ratchet. And now all we got to do here, we're just going to route these back onto that clip that I showed you right there, that bracket that you see right there, and I'm going to reattach those, and then we'll get them reconnected. So very simple. You know, if you got the OEM, you know, blue to blue, gray to gray, and I just, you know, from experience, the OEM's usually the best way to go. The aftermarkets, for whatever reason, they make them a little different, where they just, sometimes they won't act right. Sometimes you can get lucky, but if you can get the OEM, I would go with that. You know, and there's always a possibility if you get some used ones, they may be bad, but you know, they'll let you exchange them, just get you some more. But like I said, anyways, if you get the aftermarkets, they could give you problems. Okay, so I had reclipped these two wires here. One goes from the back and one from the front, and I went ahead and moved on to the back here. You can see that the downstream, very easy to get to right here. And in the upstream, you can see where I've got my ratchet. And we're just coming right up and through here. And I'm just using a 3/8. And I've already got this broken loose. And then this is the one that has the really short wire on it. But we're going to go ahead and get that unclipped. You can see it right up in there. So we're going to get that unclipped. And we'll get this top sensor in. Like I said, this bottom one here, very easy. And then the wire just runs right over here. See, it's all oily and nasty. But we can go ahead and get to that and unclip that. It's, like I said, these things stick, so there we go. So we got that one unhooked. Okay, as far as this wire goes, it's got a couple of these that go on the studs on the oil pan that you got to get loose. You can see them. You just pull them down with a screwdriver. We're just going to go ahead and take this completely out. And I was just working on unhooking this top O2 sensor, the upstream, and like I said, just reached up through here. All I did, and those just pop right out of there. And it's obvious, you know, you want to make sure that your truck is cooled down before you go to taking any of this stuff loose here by hand. And it's really not too difficult. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect this connector here. So just kind of feel for that hole up there is all you have to do, and just get it threaded back into place. Kind of do the same thing with the connector, and there I've got it. So I'm going to give it a final snug, and then we're going to work on getting this lower one in here. But these back here will say that one's not near as difficult as the front one to get to. Okay, so now we're just getting this lower one. Like I said, this is very, very easy to get to. And we're going to go ahead and snug it down, and then we'll reroute our wire over there. And like I said, these just go onto the studs on the oil pan there. Okay, and we've just rerouted that wire, put that back on to the stud, and it just run right back over here, and we've just connected that. Okay, I just wanted to talk about something while I had this on my mind. Now, this socket for most purposes would work to get to a lot of these O2 sensors, but in the case of this one that's in the front is where the issue come in. So we needed this more low profile piece right here, and this one is basically the same thing, except you can use a 1/2 inch breaker bar in this one. So, but they're just a little bit more lower profile because there just wasn't any room in that front one. So this piece right here worked the best for that. So they also make a wrench that just has this made on there, but you know, like I said, they're like $30 for that. Now, as far as the O2 sensors go, depending on, I think Bosch or some of the better ones, if you're going to have to buy some new ones, but I think they're like $50 a piece to part stores. So you know, it adds up when you got 4 of them to replace. So just think about it. I think Bosch and Denso and you know, so there's some other good ones in NJK or something. But anyways, so the only thing I got left, I'm going to refasten this underneath part with the 10 millimeters. Nothing to that. I'm just the plastic flap, and then we're going to take it and we're going to clear the codes and test this thing out. Okay, so we're just going back in here now. We're going to erase these codes out of here, and these will come back pretty quick if if they're going to do it, because I cleared them out before and they came back immediately just as soon as I cranked the vehicle up. Okay, so we've got those deleted out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drive it around and just to make sure, and then we'll follow up here in a moment. Okay, so I've driven it down the road several times, and so far no check engine lights. Like I said, they came back immediately when I reset them the other day just to confirm it. Now I did have an evaporator purge valve, for that to come back, so I'm going to keep an eye on that, see if it's going to come back, because I don't think it's related to the O2 sensors. But so far I really can't tell any difference in the way that it's running. Seems to be running the same, but they say that it's a noticeable difference in fuel economy, which I haven't had it long enough to run the full tank through it and really check the fuel economy out. I think I was getting somewhere close to 17, and I think it only I'm supposed to get 18 city and 24 highway, and it's mainly city miles. So anyways, I'll follow up, but so far it appears that that's fixed the problem with those O2 sensors. And as always, if you found the video helpful, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. And thank y'all for watching.